Hello, this is Mike Hayes, and on this video we're continuing our discussion about how to play chords on guitar. And in particular, we're looking at how to connect chords together to create a musical chord progression. So rather than just learning random chord shapes, we're wanting to make sure that each chord moves smoothly to the next chord. On a previous video, we looked at how to play the first two chords in our cycle 5 chord progression, the C major 7th chord and the F major 7th. On this video we're going to show you how to play all the other chords in the cycle 5 progression. Now of course many of you will already know how to play certain chords in this chord progression, but what I'd like you to take particular notice of is the way that we're voicing the chords in this progression. Each chord only contains 4 notes, and that's because we want each chord to have the same impression on our ear. We want the chord to be balanced. We don't want one chord to contain, say, 6 notes and the next chord in the progression to contain 4 notes. So let's begin by looking at how to play the B minor 7 flat 5 chord. Here is the B minor 7 flat 5 chord shape that I'm playing. Keep in mind that a minor 7 flat 5 chord can also be called a half diminished. So this chord could also be named B half diminished. Take particular note of where the key note is in the chord shape. That's indicated by the clear circle. It's under my first finger. Once we know where a key note is located in a chord shape, this shape can then become movable. So if in another song, for example, I came across a B flat minor 7 flat 5 chord, I would simply move this chord shape back 1 fret so that my first finger was at the note B flat on the 5th string. The other thing to note is that we're not playing string 6 or string 1. The next chord is E minor 7th, and this is the way that I'm voicing the chord on the guitar. This shape may be new to some players and it requires a little bit of practice just to get the hang of it. I'm barring the 1st and 2nd string with my 2nd finger. You can use different fingerings, but I'd recommend persevering with this particular shape. You'll find that it's easier to play chord melody by using this particular shape. One more thing to check out is that I'm not playing string 6 or string 5. The next chord in our sequence is A minor 7th, and this is pretty much a stock standard shape that I think most guitar players would know. The main point of interest is that the key note is the 5th string open, and that we're not playing string 6 or string 1. The next chord in our cycle 5 progression is a D minor 7th chord, and again I think this is a chord shape that a lot of guitar players would know. It's like a small F chord with an open 4th string. The key note is the 4th string. We're not playing string 5 or 6. An interesting thing I'd like to draw your attention to is that this is the exact same voicing for a minor 7th chord as we played earlier in the progression when we played an E minor 7th chord. So it's just the E minor 7th shape back 2 frets. It doesn't look like the same chord shape because we have an open 4th string. But if you want to check that out, you'll notice it is exactly the same voicing. The next chord in our progression is the G dominant 7th chord, and here's the voicing that I'm using for G dominant 7th. I'm going to bring it all home now and finish our chord progression with a standard C major chord. So let's go and have a listen to how all this sounds now and check out the shapes that I'm playing